Commissioner Kohler. I put in one of your toilets today. A Kohler. I put in one of your toilets today. I said, there we go. Kohler knows how to flush it.
Good evening and welcome to Public Forum. Please turn your cell phones to vibrate, silence, or offsetting. The Gary Sansing Public Forum is intended for matters not included on the agenda for the upcoming Board of County Commissioner meeting. Citizens wishing to address items on the agenda should sign up to speak at such items on the regular Board of County Commissioner meeting following this. Speakers shall refrain from abuse or profane remarks, disruptive outbursts, protests, or other conduct which interferes with the orderly conduct of the Gary Sansing Public Forum. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes unless otherwise determined by the chair. At the chairperson's discretion, the Gary Sansing Public Forum may end 5 minutes prior to the scheduled meeting. We will start out at 3 minutes. We have 9 speakers. Our first speaker is Megan Walters. Please come up. And Carolyn Grawley, you're on deck.
Good afternoon.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I am a communications student specializing or emphasis in PR and social media. And I would like to ask you guys for a couple of favors and anybody in the room listening. If you could, when you have a chance, go to Escambia County Public Safety on Facebook and scroll down to about the third one. And if you can, like it, share it, comment, and follow it. And by following it, you'll be educated for hurricanes. But I just want to make sure that everybody's aware that Sinead Dunn was named the 2025 Florida Association of Public Safety Communications Officials Supervisor of the Year. And that's kind of a big deal. So I just want to make sure that y'all are aware of that. And last summer, I took a course here, and one of the biggest things I learned was leading from the front. And I think that that's the kind of leader Shanae is. And I think about her, and I just see her just standing in the room and just looking around, making sure everything was good. And so on Grey's Anatomy, they have this pose that they do, and it's like this, and it's called the Superman pose. And it's when you're doing hard things and you're trying to think and ground yourself. And I always think about Shanae when I do the Superman pose. That's the kind of leader she is, and she leads from the front. And my other request is for you, Commissioner Berry, at the new park that is the Paper Mill Park. There's a thing called a whisper phone, and it is at the Stefani Park. And if you could get one of those installed, I know a lot of your citizens would appreciate it. Thank you. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you, Megan, for your comments. Carolyn Grawley, you're up. And Grace McCaffrey, you're on deck. Hi, Carolyn.
Hi, Commissioner Kohler, and hello to all of you as commissioners. I'm here today on matters that affect me personally and affect every citizen who has a disability. It affects us economically in our community for our county citizens. It affects us as taxpayers. It affects our government employees. It affects the military here on base. It affects what I spoke to you about in October, and it affects matters that you voted on. We have matters that are happening with transportation that are of great concern. We have Flex Transit that has started, but we also have paratransit needs that need to stay as they are. Right now, Flex Transit is a pilot program, which should be completely separate from what paratransit is needing to take place. The Flex Transit may be an opportunity that it's out there, but paratransit needs to happen. Just as an example, today, somebody was not brought to work that needed to be at work. Somebody was left on the base who needed to get home. And we don't know how people are getting to and from where they need to be at all times. As well as people aren't sure of what's happening when. We've had different letters that we've all received at different times of when this program's starting and finishing. on the letter that you were all forwarded that was from them, it says that this will be an option. And then in that same letter, it says that it's required and that all hours, all services will be given at their office. But then it says, when you call them, they said, no, those services, that you have to call ITL. Well, which place are you supposed to call? And then, by the way, some payments are going to go to ITL. Some payments are going to go through FlexRide. Some are going to be things you do on the app. Some things are going to be on the phone. Some things are different ways. We were assured that this app is just completely accessible. It's not completely accessible, and I've spoken to people in Tampa who have disabilities there. It is not accessible to people in Tampa either. There are people who are not using it in Tampa because it's not accessible to them either. So they're doing workarounds in Tampa also because it's not accessible to them. So I'm very concerned that we're pushing it forward very fast. I asked in October that we have meetings to talk about this funding and talk about how we're going to do this. The federal transportation programs talk about doing a 4 to 6 month transition, doing public hearings, doing all kinds of things working together. I asked to have meetings. I even made a phone call to Mr. Marino's office. No return phone call, no public meetings.
Carolyn, please
I'm
wrap up your
concerned.
thoughts.
So
Ms.
I
Brown?
I'm
appreciate
very
your
concerned.
concern. I think the county administrator, Wes.
Ms. Growy, I certainly appreciate your concern. I take it very seriously. I have Mr. Hall in the back. If you would, Mr. Hall, if you would get with Ms. Growy and get her information, we'll set up a meeting. I would love to meet with you and walk you through some of the things that we're looking at and what we're doing.
Yeah. And I think that we have the opportunity for a great transit program to be working. And I know that ITL works hard. I know that the transit companies work hard. I know that we want everything to be smooth and be as least expensive as possible. We want it to go as far as we can. But we need all parts to be working together as a whole community. You've heard me say this before on other matters. We've got a lot of holes with H's for everybody, but what we want is a hole with the W. That means that we involve all of us at the front before we push things out that are incomplete or that cause chaos and cause fervent upsetness across the community.
Carolyn, I want to thank
Certainly
you. Commissioner May, do you have your light
Yeah,
on?
Carolyn, thank you. And Carolyn, Carolyn thinks, and quite frankly, I serve as the chairman of the Transportation Disadvantage Board, where there was patients and those. I had no idea of these letters that were going out, which was quite frankly disappointing. But I will tell you, I talked with Administrator Marino, and I can just tell you that your concerns and all of the Transportation Disadvantage Board concerns are going to be addressed, and there's going to be a period in which we figure out which direction we're going to go. But I can just tell you, I appreciate the phone calls and the messages, but I'm not going to sit on this board and allow for anything to happen to citizens with disabilities without being fully vetted. So thank you, and I appreciate your passion.
Thank
Well,
you, Commissioner May. And
thank you.
Carolyn, final thoughts? Do you have something you'd like to share?
For myself, my last piece is that the problem with this communication and chaos like this is that you now have a whole bunch of people who are very, very concerned and upset and don't know what to do and don't know which way it's going. And so it's complicated. And there hasn't been any public notices like out on the radio, the news, et cetera, of what process is actually happening and which way are we actually supposed to be doing things.
I appreciate your
that's a
comments,
problem.
and I think you heard that
I know.
both the commission and the administrator is going to try to make it better, so thank you
Yes.
very much.
Thank you.
Grace, you're up, and Charles Dial, I think, is on deck. Charlie Dial is after Grace. Go ahead, Grace, welcome.
Hi, good evening, Commissioners. I'd like to also let you know that we've got several people here on this issue. In March, I started receiving calls from inmates and ministers and advocates about concerns for Latinos at the Escambia County Jail. The issues are in regards to Spanish speakers unable to understand their rights, circumstances, or procedures, or communicate their needs. On my way in here today, I got a call that there's a Honduran man that's suffering multiple broken bones following a car accident, after which he was arrested, and he's not getting any kind of medical treatment. I've been told that there are a couple staff members in the jail that speak Spanish, but they're either not fluent enough or not available enough. I want to be clear about the situation our Latino immigrant community is currently facing. Regardless of their arrests, almost everyone is being placed on ICE hold until they are determined to be released. This can take several weeks as their immigration status is evaluated, until after which, maybe after they place their bond, causing lengthy and costly family separations, and even cause some to miss vital immigration appointments and renewals. Such was the case of Miguel Torres, a Venezuelan national that was driving through town, never been to Pensacola before, when he was pulled over for speeding by FHP and arrested for not, he was pulled over for speeding and arrested for not having a valid driver's license. Keep in mind that Florida does not accept certain driver's licenses from certain states that are provided to immigrants. He was in jail for 3 weeks by the time someone suggested he speak to me and helped us connect. We immediately located his mother in Venezuela, where she was able to communicate with family members to pay his bond. The ICE detainer was removed, and we helped Mr. Torres with a place to sleep, food, and recover his vehicle. Our greatest concern was the possibility that he could mistakenly be sentenced to life in prison in El Salvador. Administrative errors are also concerned. One, I think, may have been the reason why Yeratain Barrios, a Hispanic American citizen, was also placed on ICE hold. The jail staff told Mr. Barrios that they were contacting ICE to try to have it removed. It was not done until others intervened on Mr. Barrios' situation. The best I can assume is that his name was mixed up with another inmate's. I realize that we're working in a community that speaks foreign language may still be new to many people who may view accommodations as an inconvenience. But as an advocate and former county employee who worked as a troubleshooter for all the departments, I think that there is a simple solution. There are many communities around the country that manage this issue without issue every day. If necessary, I'm willing to recruit and organize volunteers and even raise funds.
Carolyn, can you wrap up your thoughts?
I did just want to mention
Grace,
that
I'm sorry.
it did take us several weeks, but we finally did make contact, Chief Powell and I, and we did have a great conversation yesterday. And he assured me that there are procedures in place, but I'm here. We're here. There are several people here here to ask for support and making sure they are efficiently implemented.
Thank you, Grace. I was going to refer you to Chief Powell, but I'm glad you talked to him. I appreciate your comments tonight.
Hey, Grace, so is the number one problem in the jail, you're saying, lack of communications?
I have spoken to several people that have gone through the jail, Spanish speakers, and some that are still there, and they said they have not spoken to one single person in Spanish.
Chief. And I don't want to labor the time, Mr. Chairman. It'll be very brief. It's a pretty direct and quick question, because, Grace, I appreciate you reaching out, and quite frankly, I met with a group of your supporters today for lunch. Do we have someone that's bilingual that's communicating with our citizens who can't speak English?
Even more than that, we have a bilingual line that's available. Our inmate handbook is in.
Can you get in the mic, Chief?
Even more than a person. We have a bilingual line that they can call and speak to. Our inmate handbook is in Spanish. Everything on the kiosk is in Spanish and English both. So we do everything we can. I have multiple staff on staff that are completely fluent. They're completely fluent, some of my staff, but we also have multiple other sources.
Okay.
Hey, Chief, so I just because I have a little bit of background in this, so if someone's, let's say we have someone that just speaks Chinese, you go through something that Google Translate that you guys can see what the problem is?
We have an interpreter line.
Okay.
Yeah, we have an 800 number we call, no matter what language it is, we can do the communication.
All right, yeah, we had those in the hospital. I'm glad to hear you have those.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So we have someone on staff that can communicate with any ethnicity or any group, is what you're saying?
Yes, we have a
Chief?
means, yes, sir. And additionally that, not only some staff, we have multiple sources. I won't get into them all.
How many people have we had turned over to ICE?
Currently, we have 27 that have local charges or state charges and an ICE hold, a detainer on them, and we have one currently that's just waiting to be picked up, which they'll be gone the next day or two.
So one waiting to be picked up of all 27?
No, all 27, I have 27 that have local charges. They have to be adjudicated first, whether they're state or misdemeanor charges, federal felonies. Once they're adjudicated, then ICE will determine whether they're going to come get them or not.
And it's not our responsibility for the public defender's office or the state attorney to have a bilingual person, but we have a bilingual person
Yes, we
that's
have
communicating with them.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
If I
Charlie Dial.
respectfully disagree. They're not getting access to the Spanish interpretation, and I
Okay.
just want to suggest some kind of signage or something that can constantly be present, so someone knows where to call, who to call.
Grace, so
when they're in need.
I have a few more people speaking on that. I appreciate your comments, but being fair. Charlie Dial, you're up next. Am I saying that? I'm sorry. Did I say that right?
Charlie Dial?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I hate to chop up names. That's why I just say it out of respect. So please
Appreciate
go
it.
ahead.
Thank you. Mine will be short and relatively similar to Grace. My name is Charlie Dial. I'm here speaking as a concerned Pensacola resident and as a community organizer. And I want to urge this body to earnestly listen to Grace, even with sorry, not sheriff, what was his title? The chief? And, with what the chief said, I don't think that the point is mute. Like Grace said, this translation and these bilingual computer systems that we have, it's obviously not working. We wouldn't be here if it was working as well as the chief said. So, like Grace mentioned, we're willing to volunteer to facilitate any translation or assistance that's needed because we know that a brand new program of this kind can be expensive to implement. And we're not asking for anyone to receive special treatment. We just want to make sure that everyone in Escambia County is subject to the same judicial system. And that's a concept that this country was funded on, that everyone experiences the same judicial system. Pensacola is a multicultural community, and our judicial system needs to reflect that. Other multicultural communities in the U.S. have little to no problem doing so, and so it's simply the right thing to do. I have a lot of time left, but I think I'll yield it because we have more speakers that'll speak on the same thing. So just, I just want to reiterate, if the bilingual help and the translation systems that are in the jails were sufficient, we wouldn't be here, I promise. So thank you.
Well, thank you for your time and sharing your comments with us. I hope I don't say this wrong. Giralso Alfonso, and please correct me if I said your name wrong.
Yeah, it's Girasol Alfonso.
I apologize.
Or Girasol. You can just call me Sol. So yeah, my name is Girasol Alfonso. I'm here speaking as an immigrant and also a concerned Pensacola resident on the same topic as the preceding two members of the community. The Latinos detained at Escambia County Jail are in need of our assistance, regardless of whatever you may have heard prior. Like Charlie said, if they weren't in need of assistance, they wouldn't have been calling other members of the community telling them, hey, we're not getting the right information. We haven't even spoken to a single person. That's not right. These people are not lying. This is an actual fact, something that's actually happening in the community. Sorry, my phone unlocked on its own. So yeah, many of them do not speak English, and so they are unable to communicate their needs. They're unable to comprehend even the rights that they do have in this country or simple detainment processes. They're confused. While it may be impossible, or while it may not be possible to maybe hire more staff for financial reasons that can translate for these inmates or detainees, there are people like us who are willing to help if needed. We can gather people who can translate, or we can ourselves, I myself am bilingual, Grace is bilingual, we can offer our help to be able to translate documents, and also the procedures that are going on. If they're confused about certain things, where to go next, different opportunities they may have, right? We can clear these up for them. They deserve to have the same understanding of these things as the other people in the jails. One thing I might even add is that computer programs are not enough. We need actual people human beings who can communicate to these other human beings and tell them, hey, this is what you can do, and have that back and forth conversation, that back and forth really helpful conversation. They need our help. And so I very strongly urge all of you to consider this unique position that these detainees are in. Imagine yourselves in their shoes, please, and hopefully facilitate their support if needed. And if you can't, we will help you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sol, and we are all human. I like your shirt. Sammy Epstein, you're up next, and Ronald Reese is on deck.
Hi, my name is Sammy Epstein, and I am a resident of Pensacola and a community organizer. Like the fellow other people that recently spoke, I'm here today to talk about the immigrants at the Escambia County Jail and how they are in desperate need of support. Regardless of what resources are available right now, they are not enough. Many of the Spanish-only speakers have not had their rights or circumstances properly communicated to them due to the lack of fluent Spanish-speaking staff. Everyone deserves respect and dignity. Everyone deserves to understand these procedures and to be treated fairly. Having an interpreter on staff as a volunteer will help us get to the facts quickly, prevent confusion, and most importantly, ensure jail resources are not wasted on individuals who should not have been arrested. Having an interpreter on staff is having an interpreter on staff is financially not an option, I urge you to listen to the several community members here today who have experience gathering and organizing volunteers. There are so many individuals in our community who want to help and are more than able. Thank you, and I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you for your comments and coming down tonight. Ronald Reese is up, and then Larry Downs, you're on deck. Good to see you.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming down tonight.
My name is Ronald Reese, and I'm...
Please speak in the microphone. And if not, it's hard for everyone to hear, and you're a tall man.
Okay, is that all right?
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Okay, good. My name is Ronald Reese, and I am the brother of Rosamond Johnson Jr., which is a national sea show out there named after. And I'm down here to ask the committee here, the body and the people here that are attending, to come out and join us in the celebration for this heroic occasion on my brother for what he sacrificed for. We've been doing this for several years now, and I'm hoping that we continue on growing with it. And like I say, all I want to do is invite folks out there to have a good time with us.
Yeah, well, thank you. I plan on being there. Do you have any comments? I know you're part of the vet group. Do you want to say something? You have a little time.
Yeah. Okay.
Just say your name for the record.
I'm Joseph Herring. I'm the CEO of Gulf Coast Veteran Advocacy Council. I'm here with Ronald. Actually, Ronald is my brother.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
And
Okay.
I'm part of the family. I've been part of the event since it first started way back, just right after Hurricane Ivan, and I've been involved with it for years. I really support this effort because he is the veteran. We are focused on our veterans in this community, especially those who have given their ultimate sacrifice in this community. The community is not aware of what is the history here with the veterans in this community and what's going on, and how we can assist to educate them. And that's one of the things that each year this event is out there, and it's an awesome event. And you know, the community is fed. The people who's there, if there's someone visiting, they're fed, and we just need the support of this community to go forward and to continue to go forward and do what we do as a committed person in this community, whether he was our brother or whether he is a brother in the military, and we know how that is. I'm sure you know that, Commissioner Kohler.
No, I do, and I plan on talking tonight about a different hero in our community, that Cap Malin Brady. But that, obviously, Mr. Johnson lost his life way too early, and the country can't ever be grateful enough for his service. And I'll be there Saturday.
And plus, I want to thank all the commissioners that have been involved in helping us every year, especially Mr. Mays. He's like a neighbor.
Really?
Great help for us. And he's another brother from another mother.
We like Commissioner
Anyway,
May.
thank
He's
you.
a
I'd like
nice
to
guy.
See all y'all out there and see what we're doing with the kids and all the community out there, because it's all free, and just come and enjoy yourself and bring your family.
Commissioner Stroberg and then Commissioner May.
I've been out there a couple of years, even before I was commissioner, and I will be out there again. It is a great event. And I didn't know much about Rosamond Johnson until I came back to the community. I learned about him. And yeah, you can count on my support there. I'll be there. I'll be there every year.
Commissioner May.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ronnie, I want to personally thank you because I knew in the last meeting with the family members, and I'm very fortunate to live across the street from where Rosamond Johnson was born, and Miss Johnson, who died at 100 years old. Candidly, I heard what was said on radio. I heard what was said to my call-in, and I heard what you guys were saying and what we've done in previous years. I've talked with the clerk. I've talked with the administrator. I've talked with the attorney. And as you said, you just heard 2 commissioners that's going to support. And we're going to do what we've always done in helping you to feed this community.
Thank you.
All right.
We'll figure something out. And we'll do something.
I've worked it out, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
It's fine. And it will happen. I will get with you. Okay. And thank y'all.
Thank you. Oh, yeah,
And thank
come
you
on
for
now.
not
Come
bringing
out.
the whole
Come
family
out.
down here. That's the only thing I ask, that you didn't bring the entire family. So thank you
Well,
for
they'll
not
be
bringing
there
the whole family.
Saturday, so we'll get
Yeah,
to
just
meet
tell
them
the
all.
family to come out Saturday.
Thank you.
Thank you so
All right,
much.
thank y'all for coming down. Larry Downs Jr., you're
Thanks,
up.
Ronnie.
And Miss Rushing, you're on deck.
Larry Downs Jr. Plumbing, LLC, because fecal matters. I wish y'all'd all get into it a little bit with me. Y'all know it matters. Hey, before I forget, I keep forgetting about this. Hey, Kohler, you see this right here? What is going on? I come here for 20 years, 25 years, and all of a sudden one day, y'all's safety depends upon a grown man taking a belt off? Give me a freaking break. Did y'all have a meeting for that, to discuss your safety? Oh, you know what? I think we need to just get grown men to take their belt off, because we'll be protected, safe and protected. Like Patrick Henry, give me liberty or give me death, said not one American today. It's sad. It's sad. I mean, what's our new slogan? If it'll save one life, just one life. That brings me to make sure nobody forgets that we lost over 200,000 businesses here in the United States. Folded, closed, and never reopened because of the COVID mandates, lockdowns, all that. We don't need to forget that. We're talking about generational businesses. Mom, pop, several generations of kids running these businesses, and they folded down because, especially, authoritarian governments around this country, some worse than others. We know that. Luckily, we had a governor who made a course correction, because he was, come on, Lumen, come on. Lumen's like, I don't want to hear about those shots I took. I don't want to hear about them shots, Larry. We got to forget them. I got him with no mic right now. He's a defenseless. So anyways, this is part of it here today in the USA Today, May 1st, 2025. On day 101 for Trump, economy hits a snag. Markets teeter as data shows first contraction since 2022. Y'all see that? Y'all see that? You think it had something to do with the $14 trillion that was squandered? I hate to keep bringing this up. Don Crayer down at the city is like, Larry, I don't want to hear this no more. I just want to put my head up my, what do they call a mule? That's what he wants to do. He don't want to hear about it. Y'all don't want to hear about it. Nobody wants to hear about it. But there's still people dying from these shots. And there's still people getting these shots. And there's still people getting side effects from these shots. Nobody wants to hear nothing. 2 of the commissioners here closed down the outdoors. Close down the outdoors. Until these 2 commissioners gone, I ain't never going to stop talking about that.
Well, Larry, thanks for coming down. I heard there's a vaccine for sunburns, so when
Listen,
it comes out, you can do
listen,
it.
I get vitamin D any way I could get it.
Thank you. Ms. Rushing, you're up next. And then Eric Sharpling,
Thank you,
you're up
Mr.
after
Chairman. And Larry, I'm so glad that those MMA fighters had a mask on when you were refereeing.
that. Ms. Rushing, you're up. Thank you.
Thank you. I live in District 2. I gave my inheritance to my daughter in District 1, and I'm here to represent her. We have a problem on Perdido Bay that we have a guy that came down and built from Atlanta, and he's put pipes out on the properties for water supposedly to drain. But water doesn't drain out. High tide floods in. And I want a ruling from y'all that the pipes that are there have to be behind mean high tide flood. Because my daughter's property is getting flooded because they've got the pipes there, and that was the intention of this man. We never had a problem. And when we had the storm that came down last year, the hurricane that went into Tallahassee area, I blocked those pipes, and guess what? Nobody flooded, and our property didn't get water on it. But they didn't like that I did that. But code knew it. I asked them. So please, gentlemen and lady, commissioners, make a ruling that these pipes coming off the properties have to be at least 2 feet behind mean high tide. And when a storm comes in, the pipes have to be blocked off. They have no right to bring in high tide water and run it on your neighbor's yard, and that's what's happening. And they're trying to get 5 feet. They're claiming flooding, but they're trying to get that 5 feet thing that y'all have done. So y'all need to fix something, because there's a mess down there, and it's what they're doing is illegal, hateful, and mean.
Thank you, Ms. Rushing, for your comments. Commissioner
Kathy? It's Kathy, right? We'll get your number, and I want to talk to you and learn more about this.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Eric Sharpling, you're up next.
Well, good evening, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to come down for today. One thing I was going to say is I'm experiencing in the neighborhood is people are going around beating people's front doors. You go out there and there's no one there, so I don't know if it's kids or what, because it's like I've been told to ignore it because I don't know if it's a trap or what's going on. And the other day I called your office. If you're familiar with the intersection of Massachusetts and W, across from the Circle K, you got that guy out there. I guess he thinks he owns the lot. He's laying there shirtless in a lawn chair, everything's spread out, and it just looks so bad. Is there anything that can ever be done about that, or is he? Because he's on private property, but I mean, it looks disgusting. And every day he's there. He's an older guy, white-haired, and it's right across the street from the Circle K. It's the same one where someone went in and, put gasoline on the woman and burnt the store.
Well, Eric, we can have code go out, but Massachusetts and W's in Commissioner May's district, but I can have Tim, if we can have code look at it. We won't have to do that for you.
To me, it's just a sad thing that's happening. I see there's a lot of talk now about the term limits for the commissioners, but when I call the senators' offices, I'm asking, why can't all constitutional offices be term limited and not just y'all? What's good for the goose is good for the gander, I'd say. Everybody get 8 or 12 years, and then let somebody else take over, because I don't think we want another thing where we have a guy serves 50 years as clerk of court. But yeah, that's the main thing. I just wanted to...
Eric, who'd you call on that, just out of curiosity?
Do what now?
Who'd you call on the term limits?
I called Senator Salzman because they're all pushing it. She's already got on ECW. They're on there criticizing everybody about the MSBU. They were talking about all the commissioners want to give their friends pet projects to feed their checking accounts, and they say if they would stop doing that, there'd be a lot of money to do a lot of this stuff that that's wanting to be done in District 4 for the EMS, but we also got to bring other EMS up to standard too, I would say. But I thank you for your time, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Eric, and I appreciate your comment. Oh,
Hey,
Commissioner
Tim,
Mayhew?
would you get with Eric on Massachusetts and W, as well as Massachusetts across from Ayers Boulevard? And Eric, I agree with you. I could support term limits. Let's just do it for all local elected. That'd be great. Hopefully someone will have the courage to present that bill.
I actually agree with Commissioner May. All right, folks, that convenes public forum. We'll adjourn till the BCC meeting will start promptly at 5:30. We're adjourned.